And then she said, ABA makes me sweat. Hi, I'm Britt, and I have here Anissa, my mother.
Oh my God. It's been a long time. This is going to be a little
It-
bit, it's going to be a little
a hot
creaky.
mess.
A little creaky.
A little creaky. Okay, so we were going to start back up in January. And then I think I sent out I'm not doing this until we get our other shit under control, which was really my own shit to get under control. And then this morning, about a month later, I messaged the team and said, we're doing a podcast today.
Yeah, with no.
And given the timeline, this was, I think, at 8:30 my time. And Anissa is in South Dakota, which is 2 hours behind me. So
Yeah.
it was like 6:30 her time that she got the message. And she calls me and is like, are we really recording today? And I'm like, yes.
Is this
Do
real?
you have things going on? I don't know what else would be going on in your life.
Running some companies. That's it. Living the dream.
Yeah. So tell me what living the dream looks like for you right now.
Well, it means being trapped in a basement room there's a window. There's 2 windows, and with 3 dogs, while strange people are in my house remodeling it. And I have not unpacked from a move back in December. I have no kitchen appliances.
In perspective, if you've known us or ever listened to us, she came to my house for some stability.
That's where I knew things had to change in my life, because now I'm telling you what, the mutter of the drywall thing that finally pushed, like, I lost my shit yesterday, and I thought, you know what, I could just go to Iowa for the weekend. And then I knew, like, I'm verging on the dark side, where I was like, I could go to Iowa and stay at Taylor's. Like, I feel like that is, if we look at life in general, I mean, your house, at least there's less kids.
And more rooms. Like,
yeah.
I could put you in a different wing.
Yeah.
Not really a wing, but it felt like it.
More bathrooms. That's the main thing. So I knew that when I was contemplating going to stay with Taylor, that things had to change in our life, because I can't anymore. I'm over it. All done.
So, okay. Are you over it? Because I feel like we just need to go straight into F and Jepsen segment of it before we even touch on anyone else's life. What could you tell me about my dad?
Well, we're still married. That's where I'm going to start that with. So Monday morning, he goes to work at 4 a.m. That's the time he has to leave.
Monday after the Super Bowl.
Yes, the Monday after the Chiefs were horribly embarrassed. He thinks he's a chief. He thinks he owns the team. He speaks in terms of we, when he does not have any stake in the franchise, the Chiefs franchise. So the Chiefs have lost the Super Bowl. He handled it pretty well. The next morning, now he goes to work. He has to be to work at, I think, I don't know, 20 to 5 or something. Like, but he leaves at like 3:50 because he has to be to work early and all this other nonsense. I wake up out of a dead sleep with him standing over me saying, I wrecked the Jeep. And I'm trying to figure out, is he a ghost? Like, I know sometimes people say that when bad things happen, people come to you after they've passed, or is he alive? Like, I was so out of it. And I'm like,
how did he get back to the house?
Yeah, like, what is happening? Anyway, what had happened, we live on the side of a big hill. We live in the Black Hills, so our ground is up and down. To be fair, we come from Iowa. We lived in Kansas. Hills are different for us. We don't quite understand them. I'm not used to them.
Hills and prairies.
We're on the flat prairie. And so it is like 10 below zero. Apparently, when he went out to start his vehicle, which is a 5-speed, he pops it into neutral, and then he sets the emergency brake. Somewhere along the lines, the emergency brake did not set. The Jeep then rolled down the hill, jumped a little like ski lift that we have at the bottom and hit a tree. Thank God it hit the tree. Because
and not
the neighbor's house, at the bottom, or ended up in the lake. Yes.
It could have been much worse. Okay, let's say, so it's a 5-speed. For anyone out there who doesn't understand
a manual transmission. Yeah.
A manual transmission. Okay, let me tell you about in the day after I crashed my very first car into a field upside down. The only other car that I was able to drive at my parents', or I had to share with my dad, it was a manual, a 5-speed. And I love my dad to death, but his teaching abilities
not so good.
Are a little rough. And so I taught myself to drive a 5-speed because of our relationship as
the emotional trauma. The emotional trauma.
Mm-hmm. So thankfully I did, though, because as my little brother let him know, because he is now learning to drive a 5-speed, he learned very first to put the emergency brake on and make sure it was on.
And clicked into place. Yeah.
So we let him know that that's how it should be. I don't know how he felt about our advice.
I don't think he commented on it. I don't think there was anything said. I will say that, like I said, I was so happy that we didn't have to meet the neighbors at 4 a.m. that I was not even upset about it. I'm like, whatever.
Okay, but let's also say, for the Gen Z millennial lazy ass people out there, was the store that he manages, that he had to be there at 4:20, whatever, 5:20, was it open? Was he there?
Yeah, he was.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if we wouldn't have had a second car, he immediately, when he got home Monday, pulled the bumper off the back of it, and he can still drive it. It's a little chilly because the whole corner of the back is gone, but he would have pulled the bumper off and drove it. Like, I know he wouldn't have been, there's no way. No.
And he stayed at work until the other person.
Yes. No, he didn't even take off because he was like,
I thought he came home to look at it. Oh,
no. When his shift was
you trekked out there?
Yeah, down the hill, which I almost slid down it's the drop off of how they did our driveway. But yes, I walked out there, Britt. Thank you very much.
Okay, the drop off too. So they have a very old dog who is partially blind, who is on a leash to be taken out because
well, then you can yank her back
the
up.
Drop off. That's the drop off that is being spoke about.
Yeah, you just yank her back up. It's probably about 5 feet on the one side where it just drops off, and so that one is that hurts her neck a little bit when you have to yank her, but you can just bring her right back up. I'm gonna put one on your dad. That way, when he falls off, I can just yank him back up too.
You need to put something on the front of the Jeep every morning. So now not only does the parking brake have to be in it, but you have to be winched to the house. But then he will also probably pull out the door or something.
No, the logs that hold the log cabin up, let's not have him pull those out. Let's just not. No. Mm-mm. Nope. Well, we're down to one car, and I know that this is where we now it is first world problems when you're like, what do we do when we only have one car? And I'm like, we lived our whole lives either having one car or a car you couldn't drive out of the town of Terrell. The first car was like a little brown, was it a Cutlass? I can't remember what, a 4-door Cutlass with
the ceiling.
The ceiling was out. It was, and you couldn't drive it out of Terrell. And so I think we need to probably readjust where the things we can live without or not live without. Having only one car is not that big of a deal.
It's not. No. So I shared a car with my dad in high school, speaking of one car. And bless my mother. But I had cousins in my class growing up. And so when anything crazy happened, like pumpkins were smashed or houses were TP'd, any pranks happen that were a result of the males in my class, my house was never touched ever because of my mom, which was a blessing because I would have ended up having to clean it up, or she would have called Josh and been like, get your ass down here and come pick this up. So we joined schools in high school. And so there was another set of boys in the class that did not know my mom growing up. And so I'm sharing a car with my dad in my senior year, I think.
Yeah, it was your senior year.
We were doing pranks because that's how life is. And my dad gets into my car. It's a car, or our car. Was it the Contour?
The Ford Contour, yep.
Ford Contour. Turns it on as he's leaving for work. Glitter and baby powder puff out of the vents.
Oh my God, he was so mad. He comes in covered in white glitter. And I'm like, what the hell?
Oh my God.
What did you do? And he is livid because, again, he cannot be late for work.
And he's on his schedule.
And he is covered now in glitter and baby powder. And going to work covered in glitter and baby powder.
Yep. And I think at that time we had a second car, didn't we?
Yeah.
That you drove, and then then he made me clean that car.
Oh my God. He was not pleased.
Oh my God, he was not happy. There's been a very few times in my life that I thought that my dad I was done for. One of them was when I flipped my car into the field. And it wasn't necessarily that I flipped my car into the field. It was when he asked how fast I was going. And I'm like, I was only going like 65 on gravel.
And I had to
step between us.
Step between, and I said, you can't kill her until we take her to the hospital and make sure she's okay. And once she's okay and she's just dumb, then you can kill her. Have at it.
I was also on the wrong side of town. So I was supposed to be...
What happens when you lie? Bad things.
Bad things. Mm-hmm. Bad things happen. And I was on the Grettinger side of Terrell, anybody who's from there. And so when I called and I'm like, I'm upside down on a gravel road outside of town.
No, you didn't tell us you were upside down.
Oh, I didn't say I was upside down. No, I said I got in an accident.
And I said, get out of the car. And you said, or I said, stay in the car because it's winter. And you said, I can't. I'm hanging upside down.
And then the best part too was when you called 911, you had to call a second time once you crossed the county line.
Yeah, because they couldn't transfer me from 911s. So I had to wait. And then I remember someone asked me, well, why did you wait to call 911 to make sure she wasn't drinking?
It was my aunt.
Yeah, and I'm like,
who happened to be driving on that freaking road that night.
I don't.
It was my
aunt. She
aunt
heard the scanner
who
go
asked
off.
that.
She heard the scanner.
She probably did.
She heard the scanner. But I'm like, if she was drinking, that would have been that's a consequence. I'm not going to hide what she did. Like, that's never how I have parented.
Again, when you lie, bad things happen.
Amen. Hell or jail. Hell or jail.
Hell or jail. Well, I mean, I am the only child who hasn't actually physically been to jail. I'm just saying.
Been in back of a cop car, though, haven't you?
I have been in the back of the cop car. I did not know they were plastic. That was and I think that time my husband's eyes were like twice his size, and I think he was just pleading to not. It was dumb. I was 21. It was bad. Nobody was harmed in the telling of that story. I don't think we ever have told that story 100%, so let's just move on. So I feel like since we are throwing Dad under the bus during our very first podcast, because it should probably be about the crazy crap that he does, I am going to go through to our next segment. And this one is courtesy of the Liel family. It's going to be my favorite animal is. And so I have been thinking about this since we decided we were going to start up in January.
Oh, I was going to say, from 2 hours ago, you decided this? Is this
no, this was January.
Oh, okay.
I've been thinking about this. I've been sitting on this one for a hot second.
Oh my God.
So my favorite animal is my dad when he has wronged one of us. Period. Like, my dad is the most... Like, first off, he loves everyone. He can talk to anyone for any time, any period of a time. And there's very few, I can probably count on my hand, the people that he has not liked that I know of. And he doesn't get, like, angry either. He is more of a, we are more of a hold it in
Passive
until it
aggressive.
explodes.
Passive.
Okay. So nobody has really seen my dad like upset. So this one time, my husband was in I think it was during his Korea tour.
I don't remember.
I had both boys back home, and he was dropping me off at the airport. And first off, his drop offs, it fire drill all the time when we're getting in and out of places. Anyway, so I had him pull up. Little did I know I had him pull up into the bus area, the drop off area. So I am getting out. I have Cash is in a stroller at the time. Hugh is in his carrier. Ava, I think, is in the car also.
Yeah, she's somewhere in the car with you guys.
Yeah. And it was when I was traveling with a toddler and a baby. So I had a lot of baggage, legit baggage to be dropped off.
Physical baggage, not the emotional.
Okay,
got it.
Emotional was me having to go back home with my 2 children. That was the emotional. Anyway, I don't remember why I was there, but
yeah.
So she drops me off, and all of a sudden a bus comes behind us. And I am halfway of my stuff out of the car. I have one kid sitting on the sidewalk. One, I think, is trying to help me get the suitcase out. So I'm halfway out. I'm not jumping back in this car as the bus pulls up. So I make them wait. And finally, I get everything out, and I stand on the sidewalk, and then Dad pulls up. And I thought Dad was pulling up to leave so that the bus could, like, get there. And the people start getting off the bus, and I am again on the sidewalk with my 2 children, my baby and my toddler, with our big bag and a backpack and everything. And this one guy jumps off the bus and just starts yelling at me for, like, I don't even remember what he said. But most people who know me, I am very confrontational when it comes to being in my face. When it comes to family, I'm passive aggressive. When it's non-family, I'm very confrontational. But I'm standing there not saying a single thing because I'm trying not to cry because I have to go home, and my husband, it was not there. Anyway, all of a sudden, some guy comes running up and, like, super angry, like I could see the steam coming off of his, and starts yelling at the guy for me and to leave me alone and all of this stuff. And I look up, and it's my dad. Had no idea for a good minute and a half that it was my dad, because I'm so not used to seeing him that angry and that worked up.
That's because he saves it for me. I'm the one that usually, when somebody has pissed him off or he's mad, he yells at me. And then I, in turn, have to, like, pass it along. It's my other favorite thing that he does. I always am friends, or other women that I am with are always, like, at a very slow level. Like, I'm always ready to go when I'm with him, because I know, like, I have to be ready. And my favorite thing is, when I was with my sister-in-law and my brother and all of their kids, we had a pontoon, and we're getting off the pontoon. And I'm standing beside him, ready to go, because I knew the minute that pontoon hit the dock, I better be off the pontoon and ready to leave the dock, because he doesn't like to inconvenience anyone. Even though the kid who's 15 is getting paid per hour, does not care how long it takes us to get off this pontoon. He starts yelling at me about hurrying up and getting off the pontoon. I'm like, dude, I'm standing beside you. It's my sister-in-law who has decided to, like, take family pictures or whatever. And you can feel him just get so mad. But again, it's yell at me, not at the person. So I'm glad he didn't yell at you for the guy who was yelling at you. He's different when it comes to kids, though. He would.
Yeah, there was another instance, and I can't remember, that he got after the guy, and I can't remember. God, I wish I remembered what that was.
My whole thing,
but I feel like it was, they said something to Cash once,
probably. But my whole thing was, where was Ava? You left her in the truck?
He did not pull that far ahead, and she was right there.
I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, what if he would have had a gun? And he's like, he was fine. He wouldn't have had a gun. Because I'm like, why yell? You just don't yell randomly at people. Like that.
You do when they are dumb.
You keep it inside.
Because people are dumb. No, you do not keep it inside.
Remember,
No
we don't beef
insideness.
hard, Britt. We don't beef hard.
We do beef hard. Let me tell you.
We don't.
If that can happen, if Drake can be called out on the Super Bowl, I didn't even know there was a beef that was happening.
God Kyler told us the beef.
Kyler let us all know. We were trying to figure out where the pants came from.
Did you see? Oh my God.
That was us.
I gotta share that in the exact thing because I'm like, when I saw his jeans, I'm like, my God, are they Celine jeans? Because I'm like, oh, I definitely need those jeans.
I don't know. I know they're like $1,500 though.
Cute jeans. So I'm Googling the whole time, where did Kendrick Lamar get his jeans? Is that his name?
Jeans.
Or is it Lamar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
I don't know. No, again, but we don't beef like him.
We do beef like him. I beef like him. There was, oh my gosh, speaking of the Super Bowl and TikToks, I sent my husband a TikTok. It was of, okay, I can't remember the movie. It's Brothers okay, I cannot remember the movie, but the clip from it is your brother's laying on the floor again. And it's they're saying it's Kelsey and Mahomes is laying on the floor. And the guy who's Kelsey is like, oh my God, why can't you even get up? And the guy who's Mahomes is laying flat on the floor. If I could, I would yell at you right now. And then Kelsey says, if you don't even have the athletic ability to stay on your feet. Like, I can't remember.
Was he appreciative of that?
I don't think he was appreciative of the feedback.
Because again,
but I sent that to Dustin.
Your husband thinks he's a member of the Chiefs organization.
He does. It was, oh my gosh, I can't. What movie is that?
Well, I don't have my did we not talk about how we don't have our glasses on?
I forgot you're on the app. I'm going to need you to look close and wink. Oh my God.
Well, it's Owen Wilson, so it must.
It's Owen Wilson, yeah. And then the guy with the dark hair. What's his name? Oh my gosh, I can't think.
Oh my God.
He's in the Christmas movie with Jennifer Aniston, I think.
Well, there is no Christmas movie with Jennifer Aniston. You're thinking of Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Vince Vaughn.
There you go. So those are the two actors.
Is that the one where they are trying to get a job at Google?
I don't know. Isn't this why we have a producer up there somewhere?
Yeah, well, she's just silently judging.
She's just silently judging us.
Our new producer is her dream job is that she can silently judge, listen to us, and it does not.
It doesn't record for people to know that we are being silently judged.
Okay.
It's okay.
So
she did tell us we don't have an audience.
So don't worry about it.
So don't worry about it.
It's just you two.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's get back to the ABA makes me sweaty.
Okay. I am proud of us, first of all. We are embracing AI. So AI is in our lives. It's in our lives. Yes. There is an appropriate way to use AI and a non-appropriate way to use AI. So we're trying really hard to use it appropriately. And so did this come from an AI conversation that made her sweaty?
Yeah.
Okay. So Wait, I can't remember. You have to look at the context of it.
No, I think it came from, so we have a new protocol with a kiddo, and so telehealth and ABAs. There are different ways to do it with different kiddos. And I'm right now doing like background supervision. So he knows that I'm there. So we have a scent for all you haters out there, and we will discuss a scent at a different point in time. Anyway, so he knows I'm there.
Oh my God.
And he is very much, Dr. Farley! He lets me know that he knows that I'm there. Anyway, but I can't jump in and give feedback necessarily to the BT with him.
Right.
He picks up on it. So I text the group chat with no HIPAA information, again, for you haters out there, and was like, okay, change up. We put our poor BTs on every 15 seconds. It's like 15 to 20 seconds. They have to give a very specific feedback. I like how you have such a good arm after she was smacked in the face. But it was very specific. So they had dropped away from that a little bit. They were doing more like, oh, I really like playing with you. You're really cool, things like that. So I text the group chat and was like, somebody in the office has to tell her to switch up her feedback, because I could see his behavior changing because it wasn't specific feedback. And so Jackie is the one who is in the office, leans forward and whispers to her, so the feedback. And we're implementing this protocol because we decreased aggression, yay, but we also increased urination because that was the precursor behavior. So he doesn't throw tables at people anymore, but he does tend to pee to get attention. And my sister, who is also, her and Jackie, my cousin, are running the center. She's a social worker.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to explain he doesn't have to go to the bathroom, but she's so focused on the going to the bathroom because he's urinating. So you think if I take him to the bathroom, he won't have anything else to urinate. Well, this kid, he will, because it's for attention, and which was proven through the methods of ABA. Anyway. So I'm explaining it in our chat back and forth, and then Jackie all of a sudden was like, ABA makes me sweaty.
Well, and it's because if you're thinking about it in the sense of the child, like if I were not looking at it with an ABA lens, I'd be like, yeah, let's make sure that his bladder is empty all the time, because that will make him not pee. That's common. That to me is common sense. But then there's ABA sense.
Then there's ABA sense.
And then there's the fact that I'm reinforcing him, which common sense tells you, or when you're not looking at it from the ABA lens, that if a kid punches you in the face, my immediate go-to isn't going to be, oh my gosh, I love how well you made that fist. But when
it looked so good coming at my face.
Did, like, you did it fast, quick jab. I love your jab.
Good job tucking your thumb.
Yeah, because we want to make sure you don't break your hand when you hit me, so good job. So from the common sense point, you're like, I wouldn't necessarily reinforce you punching me in the face, but from the ABA, when you know that to decrease that behavior is we have to increase that intention somewhere else. So I know why ABA makes Jackie sweaty, because it also makes me sweaty.
Okay, but if first off, my hair looks hot. It looks hot. I look hot. I'm super confident today, which is why we were recording. Anyway, I spent the entire day at the hairdresser for the first time in a year and 3 months.
It was a long time.
And the numbers that went through, like their conversation, can I do, I need a 30, no,
okay, context
gram.
Jackie is coming from the cosmetology
Oh yeah,
side.
sorry.
Yeah.
She taught cosmetology for a while too.
Yes.
Like, so she has advanced knowledge of cosmetology. Like, anyway, I called her after listening to them all day, and I'm like, really, ABA makes you sweaty?
Chemistry.
But chemistry doesn't? Like, I don't.
But you have them on a protocol that's saying every 15 seconds, I'm providing verbal reinforcement that's specific to the client, not just reinforcement of, I love that you are happy or whatever. It's very specific to an action he is doing. So in that every 15 seconds, I'm converting.
Which would you say is contingent on his behavior? I'm just
it's non-contingent reinforcement. So let's all, whoever has been in a Dr. Farley class, and have her talk about how all reinforcement is contingent, but she actually is giving where you're doing non-contingent reinforcement.
Yeah, hence the praise that came after the punch in the face.
Right. But
that is true non-contingent reinforcement.
But every 15 seconds, I'm relearning, rethinking, going through in my head. I'm working on my body language, because here's the other thing. He's a human, and even animals, they feed off your body language. So we did have this with one of the texts where we're like, you gave him vocally, you said, I love the way you ran super fast. Well, he had ran super fast to punch another kid. So all of a sudden my body language is saying, I'm mad because this child just hurt another client, or tried to hurt another client, was blocked, whatever. But I'm also then having to think through in 15 seconds, every 15 seconds, saying, oh my gosh.
You're also recording the data.
Yes, and recording the data.
In a partial interval.
I'm sweaty just talking about it. I'm seriously sweating, thinking about what is going through, because there's so many facets. And that's why I get frustrated when I talk to other practitioners or researchers or whatever in ABA who are like, let's do this convoluted protocol, which it to me seems
It
like
is
a lot of stuff. But yet
But
then
we also have a fade out plan in place for all of the
right.
BCBA haters out there.
But I'm also going to then have my RBTs record data in a convoluted way. I'm going to have them also be working on this. I'm going to put this into effect. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Like, RBTs do not get paid enough. They don't.
No, they don't. And it's
just
it is. And but the other thing though that we do, and I want to say we're not superior to anybody, but we do things very well based on my 20 years of experience in the field.
Yeah.
Is they came to us and are like, this is hard to record.
Yeah.
Like, we are struggling to record. So we came back as BCBAs, talked about how we can still get a similar picture to what's happening, and we can still meet the goal by changing the recording. And again, that's why we did do a partial interval now instead of a frequency. And also we allow, if they need to turn a camera on, like for recording wise, in that instance. So like our tech can go to Taylor or yell at Taylor and be like, I need a video, because I'm not getting the recording. So I think believe me, we will have a series of
ABA makes me sweaty.
ABA makes me sweaty, and how we can take the research, because the field, we just went over this with the interns. They asked me and Canyon what our in our other BCBA, what is like the hardest part of being a BCBA, or what's been the hardest part right now. And mine is that we are evidence-based practice, the science-built ABA, but not every single thing in research is translating to the center. So having to be able to translate from that research to the center, and then also defend yourself, because let's face it, we are defending ourselves on why we're making those choices in the center and what's real life versus what's research.
That part I have no problem doing, because I feel like the work we've done in Minnesota is me 100% always defending whatever choices I make. But then I think it's defending it when we present every year. We're presenting at national conferences and defending why we're making choices that we're making that don't align with other practitioners in bigger centers. Like, I'll never forget one of the first presentations Jackie and I went to together. It was from a huge ABA organization, like huge.
ABA made her sweaty during that one.
Oh my God, the graph, the data. And I'm like, tell me in real life how that translates out. Like, what are you really doing? Are the practitioners so stressed about making sure they have the data to support the research, to support your hypothesis, that the data is what it is? Because I know you can't tell me that you can maintain that sort of protocol for 8 hours a day and that data is always 100%. You can't do it. And that's only one, again, that's only one thing we're working on. That's not all the other things that they're also collecting data on, and the other things that they're working on, because it's not one dimensional.
And we can't just work on one thing either, because then the insurance companies won't pay us, and then we can't pay for anything. But I also think that defending is the word, but if I ran the same protocol with we have a few BTs who English is not their first language, and so we have that learning curve also, we wouldn't run it the exact same way. And we wouldn't we would do more of like probe data.
Because they couldn't. Well, and
you can still see behavior change with probed data.
And there's, I mean, with other centers, especially, where this kiddo is hard, but he's also not it's not like he's 1 in a million. And as far as his behavior, like this is a very common behavior that we are working with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Okay, let's talk about apparently we're having a book club now.
Okay, so I thought about this.
Oh my God. But let's talk about what book you wanted to. I mean, let's be real.
Okay, anybody who has read this book, and I don't have. Okay, the book is called Dying to Be a Good Mother.
Which you gifted.
And I may have gifted that to my mother, but I did it after I read it.
And what did I say when you gifted me the book?
It's too late. That's what you said.
The ship has sailed.
The ship has sailed. It's too late. Just too late.
Again, passive aggressive. There's a difference between aggressive and passive aggressive.
If you've read this book though,
which I have not,
it's not about how to be a good mother. It's about how to kind of get yourself again, I guess. It's been a hot second since I've read it, but it is more about putting yourself first and being able to, you have to support yourself and fill your cup before you can be.
Do you want me to put myself first as your mother?
No, I mean, there was that one time that you tried and I opted out. Let me just say. No, that was when you were trying to give us more space or be less codependent.
I can't remember.
What was that one?
I can't remember.
You're like,
yeah. And
I'm going to let you be less codependent. And I'm like, I opt out of that. Hence, I'm just saying, those who can see video, my background looks amazing because my mother was here.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about this. So when you want me to fill my cup first as a mom or as a person individually, but not as a mom. So let me just tell you, if we have our one viewer could tell me if they think that my child,
I think we lost them in the divorce.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
If my children want me really to fill my cup first. So I am in Virginia, which I was excited to go to Virginia. I went for a week and I'm planning to fly home. I get dropped off. Well, first of all, the Farleys,
the plague hit.
The Farleys all got influenza A. So the Tuesday that I'm supposed to go home, there's a doctor's appointment for Cash. So I'm worried that they're going to get on base and I'm not going to make my flight. So they dropped me off at Barnes and Noble with my bag. I did not take my suitcase, so I didn't necessarily look like a homeless person, but I put everything in my bag that I might need if I do have to leave without my suitcase. I sit in Barnes and Noble for 2 hours. Britt,
it was not 2 hours.
Have you walked around Barnes and Noble with a bag that weighs 400 pounds? And there's no chairs. They took all the chairs.
They gotta go sit on the floor in the kids section.
Well, I can't. Weird. I can't sit on the floor. But anyway, so
I forgot about that.
I get a call that's like they think Cash has pneumonia, and I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to change my flight? No, it's fine.
That is not what I said. I said, well, is Dad gonna lose his shit? Like, is he gonna not be able to take care of himself? Is he gonna end up has a heart attack in the emergency room again?
Drive the Jeep into the ravine.
I'm like, okay, I need you to decide. Is it worth it to leave my dad another day? Like, what crazy shit can my dad do while you're gone for another 24 hours?
Well, it was more than 24 hours because I teach on Wednesday, so I can't fly out. There's one flight. I am also I'm a little anxious about flying because the airline crash had just happened. I have to fly on that airline.
Let me tell you though, I sent you the flight for Friday.
Oh.
And not Thursday, but you had your medicine or something like
that.
I
have to be medicated. I ran out of medicine. There was no way I could stay without medicine. And so before this even happened though, my daughter tells me that she didn't book my flight. She did book my flight, didn't book my flight, did book my flight. I finally booked my own flight. I moved my flight to Thursday.
We couldn't find the credit. We're still not sure where that credit went.
I know. I booked my flight for Thursday, where I then sit in the airport. I have her drop me off early because I'm worried she won't get me dropped off and then get back to pick up a kid. And so I sit in the airport for several hours. My flight gets delayed, which again, fine with. If there's maintenance on a plane, maintain the plane. I do not want to die. So I'm okay. I have an hour. I think the original layover was an hour, which is fine in Dallas. You can make it. My layover went to like 20 minutes. I'm old, fat, out of shape. I'm not going to make a 20
That's
minute.
because she ate my entire candy jar.
I did.
Just
I'm
saying.
trying to get rid of red dye 40 or whatever out of your house. So I get delayed. I miss my connecting flight. American Airlines apparently is taking a new approach to customer service, and they actually put me up in a hotel. But I am in Dallas one more night. I end up not having my medication, and I have to fly out the next day. Now, if I were putting myself first in that scenario, I would have already booked my ticket and got myself the hell out of Dodge on the first day.
Okay,
But
you're right. You
I
would
did
have
not
booked it
want
a
to go
lot
back to my
sooner.
house. I did not want to go back to my
Yeah,
house.
exactly. Okay, let's talk about this. What do you have in the pasture across the street from your house or down the road?
Well, that's different. I just needed to be back to my horse. I just missed him so much.
Exactly. There's your drink for your cup to fill.
And he was mad at
It's
me and
a
wouldn't let me.
17,000-pound animal.
He wouldn't let me hug him, so I knew he was mad.
Mm-hmm.
Sad.
Plus, she bought a horse that is not a fan of me.
He takes a while to warm up.
Plus, he is how tall? 20 hands?
16'2".
16'2", yes.
He's tall.
God.
He might be. So the book we're reading is really going to be that book?
Okay, so I thought I have a different approach because we're collaborating.
Because you don't want me to put myself first.
And I was thinking maybe listening to another podcast, like episode together something. Because I feel like we would listen to something before we would sit down and read it, which I guess we can listen to the book.
I listen to books while I go out and take care of my horse.
While you put yourself first, you listen to the books.
Or we could I would say watch a show together and then talk about it, but I cannot watch any more of those dumb shows you make me watch. Like there's no way.
I feel like we should do Dying to be a Good Mother because I think that
but if I take it to heart and put myself first, then that's your own. You'll have to answer to your sister and brother.
Well, if I were a behavior analyst and I looked at learning history,
not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Oh my God, ABA makes me sweaty. I'm sweaty just thinking about being a good mother is making me sweaty.
Okay, let's say, good is so like
it's objective.
The definition that happens. So I happened to be on our KNow Facebook somehow accidentally. I was on where I was the KNow. And I went to hurry up and get off so that our silent producer did not yell at me for messing something up on the Facebook. And I've noticed a post by another provider. And it's a user who focuses on parenting. And it was about how to be a good parent. And it was being home, creating a strong environment at home, and like a very specific there. I'm sorry, but I feel like I am a good parent. And first off, my home is a hot mess. I am not the one who provides the stability in the house when it comes to rules or anything, as we know. And I am gone a lot, as is my husband is gone a lot. Don't come and kill me. But I have safeguards in place if you do try. Anyway, I feel like we're good parents, but I don't know. I don't know how like giving parenting advice to be a good parent, like that is so.
Well, the problem is you can't, first of all, it can't be this overreaching thing because to be a good parent to a child is going to look different for every single child. It does not matter.
Needs.
Like, right. Like you have to parent differently. And then good is a relative term. Like it's not measurable. Like good. What does good mean? I didn't drown you at birth, so I'm a good parent. When I beat the crap out of you, I didn't leave marks, so I'm a good parent. When I let you be safe in our home and explore, like asking questions about things, or I didn't judge, I'm a good parent. Like, so it's relative to good parent. I mean, I don't think you can say one way or the other how to be a good parent. And so that's interesting to me that's.
Yeah. But it was a quote from a parenting, I'm using air quotes for expert.
Right.
And I would like to know their credentials. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean,
do they actually have kids? Because my favorite are the parenting experts who don't actually have kids.
I mean, or
because I would have throttled myself if I would have met me before I had kids.
But then I think about how I would have given advice if I would have only ever had you versus adding another child. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think I try really hard, except with my own children and my grandchildren. But like for other people, I don't ever give advice because I don't walk in those shoes. I have no idea like what it is to like. I can, if they ask me, like I've raised strong-willed children, so I can give advice in that way.
Not
but I can't tell you strong-willed. Well, you're strong-willed and passive.
I am upping my beef. Remember?
Oh Jesus.
We're upping the beef.
We're not.
Which is what the new segment is going to be when I yell at everyone for that it's not real life to do things. Anyway, okay. So let's bring it home. I don't know how I'm really bad at the endings of these
So
things,
did we decide we're doing a book club, or we decided we weren't doing a book club? Or is it on the table? What did we decide? Nothing?
I think it would be good.
Okay, we will then. That's fine.
About parenting?
Do I have to read a certain, like, 2 pages or something?
I would think it.
I think I gave the book. I gave the book away, so I'm gonna have to buy another.
I know you did. You are correct.
Might be in a box. And if I didn't, I haven't unpacked for 2 months, so I don't even know where it would be. So okay.
Oh my god. Okay. So we're not gonna do everything that I have written on my sheet for you to follow, just so you know.
Thank God.
I see that you're following it though. I think that's very good of you.
Trying to keep us on track.
I know. Okay, so I think it would be funny to I think it'll be really funny to pull a quote from our AI notes.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, because we started talking about AI. So we use AI in the fact that we read back through the notes, and it does help jog when we're writing, like not even notes, but like meetings and things like that. But yeah, I think that this is why students out there who are using AI to write their papers, you know what? If you are, you shouldn't be, but at least for the love of God, read through them. Just read through them. Okay, what's your funniest AI one?
Okay. Ooh, okay. So I don't know if I have just one. So probably
you have to pick one. Pick one.
Oh,
pick one.
Okay, so my favorite one this week so far has been, and this is, I swear, sums up everything in life for me at all times. But it's Dr. Farley was also present but appeared busy.
That was the one I was gonna pick. I loved that one. I'm like, oh my God, if AI is smart too.
I was like, okay, wait a minute. So that was with the kiddo who I can't jump in. I did appear busy. I was trying to chat people to figure this out. Did appear busy.
And oh my gosh. In that same AI note, you all took a bunch of phone calls you shouldn't have. That appeared to be work related, but not all work related.
No, it did. It said the BT took several phone calls during the meeting, primarily work related. These were interspersed between interactions with the client.
Well,
they discussed scheduling and referrals.
When you get the notes too, like if you get like, so they transcribe your meetings and then they give you
there's different. Yeah, there's different. So there's the actual full transcription, which has helped a lot. First, if you're a BCBA, I went back and looked to see what was said.
Yeah.
And see that was a trigger for one of the clients. And it also helps some of our supervisees. Like I transcribed group last night and they're able to go back and read through the actual writing. But there's also just a thing, it's called Gemini, where they just, I figured Gemini is a male because of how he writes.
Okay. Well, Gemini is a male. Okay. Perfect.
But they summarize it.
Well, the one summary was I got a little upset because I wasn't on the meeting and it had summarized the meeting between the individual and the owner of the clinic. And it was like the BTs will be we'll have training on how not to physically prompt or maintain holds or something.
Yeah.
And I like send an email immediately. I'm like, what the hell? What is happening?
Why are we using holds?
And
we're
Crystal,
not.
we're not. Crystal's like, God, Gemini took that seriously. All it was if the client's 2, you can't pick them up all the time and like pick them up and carry them somewhere, which if you had your own 2-year-old, it's very natural to transport them by picking them up and carrying them. And so that's what it was. But
he doesn't get sarcasm.
No, he doesn't. Me and Gemini and I don't get along very well because he doesn't get me. He does not.
So if that was going to be yours, I feel like I get a second one too. And so my second summary is that the future plans include building a chicken coop.
I mean, I can have chickens here. It might.
Apparently, Ike and Ivy, we are getting a chicken coop. I'm not sure what is happening there. I don't know.
Where we're keeping the chicken coop, I don't know. So our first podcast is in the books that we're back on, but when are we? Hopefully we will have a weekly podcast.
Do I have any other plans? What?
Yeah,
do you want me to actually plan that?
Like weekly? No. I mean, seriously.
I mean, yeah, that's the plan. The plan is weekly. So you guys will get to hear from us weekly, which, like I said, we don't have an audience, but that's okay.
We'll get to hear ourselves weekly.
It is. We do get to hear ourselves weekly. And yeah, you lost me.
You're still trying to work through.
I'm trying to work through my life, okay? I am bad. When I mess up, let me just say, anybody who knows me thinks that I can handle it. I cannot handle it. When I mess up or something doesn't happen the way I think it should happen, my gosh, that was horrible for me, especially when I really want something. Okay, yes, we will be back weekly. You'll get your weekly dose of us. And I can't guarantee that it will be...
Oh no, this is what got her this is what made her focus, because there will be a weekly recording, whether Dr. Farley's on it or not. Guess what? Every week I will be on here, and I'll either be by myself talking about whatever, or I will bring someone else in from the team to talk about whatever. So there will be a weekly, and then she said, and we'll just see how many of those.
And she's going to say things about me that I would want to defend myself
for. So she should show up.
That is how we got.
Yep, I'm taking control.
I forgot about that.
I'm taking control. Shannon and I are in control.
Oh my gosh. At least name it podcast, so unlike your and Alicia's secret meetings that I don't know what is happening.
I do not. Okay. So
let's.
I don't know the whole handles and all that, so I don't know how to even say make sure to follow us.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I'm going to write it down. I'm writing it down right now.
So if you would like to hear from us or like to know more about our craziness, you can. Okay, I just have to say this. The handles are right above where her cursor is in the document that we're sharing. For you. Just so everyone knows. Okay,
I'm a protected class. You can't fire me.
Okay. So follow us on Instagram at And Then She Said Podcast, and then our Facebook is And Then She Said. So I feel like those are easy for you to remember if you didn't need to type them down.
Oh, I can't wait till next week when she's not on. I can't wait. Oh my God, I'm gonna have control. Right. It's gonna be amazing.
It'll be great. Okay. Thank y'all for listening. Goodbye.